Let's talk about for the last bit of our show, The Last of Us season 2, episode 4, which was a lot of fun. Spoilers. I don't want to. We're not doing spoiler free. We're going to do spoilers.
We just gotta dive into this.
Yeah. So we open in on the past. I feel like every time we do this, by the way, I always get whiplash because we're like talking about Star Wars and blasters and Cad Bane, and then I'm like, Fedra.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Right.
They're just riding around in this bus.
An entirely different show. Yeah. So
they're telling the story about one of their idiot
By the way,
buddies.
this guy telling the story is the guy from Drake and Josh. It is Josh from Drake and Josh.
God.
Yeah.
Did not even realize.
Yep.
So telling the story about this idiot friend of theirs who brutalized some civilians who they call voters, and
they did a fascism against civilians. Yeah.
And so there's a roadblock up ahead, and there's a big.
Well, hold on a second. We're introduced to Jeffrey Wright's character Isaac, who is like pretty disgusted by the story that they're telling, and like there's one guy who doesn't.
He's the sergeant in charge here.
Yeah. There's one soldier, like a newer guy, who doesn't really get. He's like, "Why the fuck do you call them voters?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just to fuck with them, because we, And
Isaac's like, "We did a fascism and took away their right to vote. So to make fun of them, we call them voters."
Yeah. So a group of people block the truck. Isaac gets out and meets with a woman called Hanrahan, and Isaac also tells the new kid, he's like, "Get it, come out. You don't want to be in this truck."
Learn something.
By the way, the woman that plays Hanrahan is one of the moms from Euphoria, who's amazing in that show. She's actually really funny.
So Isaac just
Isaac and Hanrahan shake hands, and they come to some kind of agreement. And Isaac turns around, walks up to the troop carrier truck, unpins a couple of grenades, tosses them in, closes the door. And this poor kid he brought out with him is like, what the fuck's happening? The grenades go off and the driver falls out, and Isaac just fucking right in the street, just fucking takes him out. And he turns to the kid and he's like, "Make your choice, son." And he's like, "What the fuck else am I gonna do?"
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a backstory that we don't get into with Isaac too much in the game, but I like it a lot. It's really cool. By the way, Jeffrey Wright voices Isaac in the game.
Cool.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So back in present day, like 11 years later or whatever, Ellie and Dina have arrived in Seattle, and they raid a pharmacy, and Dina is real shifty about needing to pee. Like she sees something off screen, is like, "Hey, I gotta go pee," on this pregnancy test. And when she comes back outside and gets on the horse, like Ellie can tell that she's being kind of shifty about it.
Dina's like, "No, nothing's wrong. Let's go."
They ride through the Capitol Hill community of Seattle, which is like Seattle's famous gay community. And there's tons of pride stuff. But the girls were born after...
They don't know what any of this means.
The girls are born after Outbreak Day. So they have no idea what pride is. And Ellie's like, "What's with all the fucking rainbows?" And Dina's like, "I don't know. Maybe they're all fucking optimists." Yeah. So they find an abandoned tank, which Ellie makes a lot of noise with. But then they're like, "Oh, it didn't attract zombies or wolves."
There's no one around here, so I guess we're good.
Ellie makes a comment about the burned bodies inside and compares them to Apollo 1. And this is a kind of a recurring thing about, just a minor thing about Ellie, is that in the game, she's kind of obsessed with space travel. And I think that we're going to expand on this because there is a particularly poignant moment between her and Joel, but obviously before he died. Spoilers. Which maybe they save for season 3. I don't think we probably see it in season 2, but it's kind of a nice moment that they have. So they get a lay of the land, and Dina sees there's a TV station tower with a bunch of satellites on top, and on one of the satellites someone spray painted WLF. So they're like, "I wonder if that's where the WLF is."
Ellie's like, "All right, we're going right there." And Dina's like,
"We're going.
Nope.
We're taking Shimmer. We're riding up there. We're kicking some ass."
She's like, "That is stupid for like 5 different reasons. We are going to wait until nightfall and then go in on foot." Yeah. And Ellie's like, "You are the smart one.
Yes.
Let's do that."
That's why you are here. Because if it were me, I'd still be my fucking chucks. Yes. So they hole up in an abandoned record store,
which also has some instruments around.
Yes. So Ellie finds the guitar display upstairs and finds a guitar that isn't ruined and plays "Take on Me." And this scene is so fucking good. Partly because Bella Ramsey has a pretty nice voice and is also a good actor, but
like she's not like trying to sing more than she should. I think. She's
Yeah,
controlling her voice very well.
Yeah, and
giving a
like
nice
the shit that goes too high, she takes down an octave, and like it's really nice. And this moment is really great. Bella Ramsey's great, but also Isabella Merced really shines in this. You can see her fall in love with Ellie in real time, and it's just with her face, and it is so well done. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Bella Ramsey, and I know she's getting a lot of shit on social media. I don't give a fuck. If you're one of those guys going after Bella Ramsey online, shut the fuck up. But no one gives a fuck about what you think. That being said, Isabella Merced, like her performance in this scene is so good. Like
her performance in the entire show has been fantastic.
Like award-winning performance. Yeah. So we switch gears and we find out that Isaac knows a lot about French cookware.
He lights the stove and then gives this nice soliloquy about, when I was younger, I impressed women by cooking for them, and I was a really good cook, but I had shitty equipment. I wanted this really fancy French stuff that I couldn't afford.
Copper bottom.
But now I've got it. Weird fringe benefits to the apocalypse.
Yeah. And what am I using it for? He puts it down on the fucking fire and he's like...
It down. Turns out that copper heats up really well, also loses its heat well, so it's not so great for like torture. And then the camera pans around and we see there's a naked seraphim chained to the wall.
Yeah, a naked, emaciated seraphite.
Naked, has his dick out and everything.
Yeah. So he tortures him a little bit with a hot pan. He doesn't give up anything.
Yeah. He's like, fucking tell us where you're going to attack next. And Seraphim says, we're going to win because every day one of your guys joins our side. None of our guys ever join your side.
Right. And this is this thing that he tells him, like, he's like, every day one of your fucking guys joins us, but we don't lose anybody ever. So if we do the math here, and you can tell, like, this really gets to Isaac because he knows it's true.
Yeah.
And he pulls out his gun and he just sends him to the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. The new guy from the first scene is outside now, not a new guy anymore, and makes a comment about, like, only good scar is a dead scar, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, you
time has been a little bit cruel to this guy.
I liked you better when you didn't know why they said Vodia. So Ella and Dina make it to the TV station to find disemboweled wolves hanging up from ropes, and they realize that they must have like called backup, so they're going to be there any minute.
Yeah.
And so they like other wolves come in.
They see the symbol of the seraphim seraphites in blood on the wall, and they're like, oh shit. Why is Seattle so fucked up?
Yeah, what the? Yeah, I love how Dina's like, what's going on in Seattle?
What is wrong with these people?
So the backup gets there. They hide. It honestly looks a lot like a sequence from the game.
I think that's intentional.
Yeah, Ellie is able to make it upstairs and tries to find a way out, but she's followed by one of the wolves, and they have a scuffle. And Dina saves her. She
ends up shooting him, but that alerts all of them, and then they have to go running.
Yeah, they share a window. They escape. They're being pursued by the wolves, but they're able to squeeze through into the transit tunnels.
Yeah, they go through this very narrow,
little tiny girl sized thing. Yeah. So the wolves find another way in, and there is fucking cordyceps tendrils down here, and a ton of infected show up.
There's a funny little sequence where Dina and Ellie are hiding, and like they hear the first zombie.
They
yell,
do the thing from the first episode.
Dina holds up one finger,
and
then there's another yell, and then there's another.
Yep.
And then another.
After 5,
she's just like, what the fuck?
They're like, okay, we're not going to count them anymore. We should probably go.
And then an entire fucking horde of zombies come in, and Dina and Ellie escape through this train.
Yeah, they tear through the wolves pretty easily. Ellie and Dina make it onto the train, but like the infected start breaking in, so they have to escape through the top. They run and they make it to the entrance to the transit tunnel that has like that metal turnstile thing.
Big turnstile thing.
It gets stuck, and Dina is kind of exposed to the zombies. And so Ellie offers her arm she's like, oh, look, it's a nice juicy arm.
Bite me.
And she gets bit. And it gives them enough time to get the turnstile.
Dina gets her gun up and shoots the zombie, and then they get out. And
so they escape. They find an old theater, which is kind of your base of operations in the game, this old theater.
And like the whole time they're going on, like Dina is just looking
side-eyeing.
like,
right. She's like, couldn't this happen before you sang me the fucking song?
Yeah.
So Dina holds Ellie at gunpoint because of the bite, and Ellie's like, girl.
Okay, look, I'm immune. realize this is shocking. I probably should have told you a long time ago.
I'm so sorry.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to bandage up my arm, and then I'm going to sit in that big-ass chair and fall asleep, and you're just going to point that gun at me the whole time. And when I wake up, I'm still going to be completely normal, and we're just going to not deal with any of this.
Now, there is this hilarious moment where she falls asleep. She wakes up, and because the roof is leaking, she's getting splashed with water, and she angrily starts swatting at her face.
She's like, whoa, hang on.
And Dina's like, oh, fuck.
She's like, whoa, no. See, I'm still good.
I was just mad because of the water.
Not shaking.
Everything's fine.
Let me show you my arm. See, there's no mushrooms growing out of it.
So I think Dina's able to accept that she's probably fine, and then just immediately, just because the emotional high of the moment is like, I'm pregnant. And they both look at each other.
And then Dina fucking kisses her.
They're like, oh, we are going at it.
And then they fuck.
Yeah. And
it's cute. It's precious.
It is also a little raunchy. She fucking reaches right down that girl's pants.
She gets right up in there.
Dina got finger banged. Which,
honestly, good for her.
I think it's interesting. We can say that, but we can't say other things.
Like Backstreet Boys reunion tour?
That you two get mad at us, yeah. So
they wake up
in their post coitus little like cuddle fest, I guess.
Ellie's like, how did you know you were pregnant? And Dina's like, well,
well, hold on a second. Before that, she makes fun of Ellie about how like Ellie thought she was being really stealthy about her attraction to Dina. And Dina's like,
no.
She's like, girl, you are not as stealthy as you thought. Now, this thing, she's like, because she was like, okay, how do you know you're pregnant? She's like, well, I have this pregnancy test.
Well, first she says, I've seen some fucked up shit.
Right. And I never puked.
Out in the woods, that was the first time I puked. And I know about morning sickness. And then I found those pregnancy tests in the pharmacy. So I peed on this one.
I like
this one.
Yeah.
And this one.
Hold on a second. I like how Ellie's first is like, wait, you pee on pregnancy tests? Is that how you actually do it?
She's like, yes, that's how it works.
Like, of course that's how it works. And she's like, well, I mean, that test is probably like 30 years old. She's like, oh, I took 7 of these motherfuckers.
Yeah, it just pulls them all out.
And she like holds them all out. And she's like, they're all positive.
Yeah.
And there's this hilarious moment where like it sinks into Ellie.
Ellie's
and
like,
she nods.
I'm going to be a dad.
She said, I'm going to be a dad. And it is the funniest shit. I laughed. And this is what guys are bitching about on social media this week. The I'm going to be a dad thing.
Oh my God.
You can tell how many people on social media haven't played the game and don't realize that Ellie and Dina like fucking get together in the game as well.
Yeah.
And in the first game, Ellie was bi. Like we knew that in the game. So like I think she's a lesbian.
She's gay.
Yeah. And I think Dina's bi.
Yes.
So yeah.
This whole scene and sequence is kind of heartbreaking because like you see a point where the story could have diverged.
Right.
Like where if there is a world where Ellie and Dina go back to Jackson and make a throuple or something with Jesse.
Right.
Yeah. And they all live happily ever after and raise this cute little baby and have a good life.
If only Ellie could give up her quest for revenge. Yes. But that's the tragedy of this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a tragedy in the classic Greek sense of the word because she has an opportunity to not do this. And it would
be easy. It would be easy for them just to turn around and
They
go.
just turn around and leave. And that's all it would take. But she doesn't. She actively chooses to continue the path she's on.
Yeah. The radio they stole from the wolves goes off. There's some kind of conflict, like the Seraphites are attacking, and they hear a name they recognize, which is Nora, which is one of the people that was present when Joel died.
Yep. And Ellie perks up and
hears the Kill Bill sound.
Yep. And right then you know that they are not going to have that happy ending.
So they go to the roof to see a part of the forward operating base under attack by Seraphites. Mm-hmm. Ellie doesn't want Dina to go because like everything's different. She's now.
Pregnant.
Yeah. And Dina's
like, girl.
Nope, we go together.
Yep.
And that's the end. However, I will say this is like extra spoilers if you've not played the game. Though this isn't that important. It's different in the game. This part is different in the game because Ellie and Dina aren't just going to Seattle to find Abby. They are going to Seattle because they're following Tommy, who is leaving this trail of dead wolves everywhere. Like they like go into a building and they find these two, the thing from season 1 where Joel like stabs the one guy in the kneecap and they do the thing with the map. Mm-hmm. Like they find two dead guys where he clearly did that, and they just keep finding these dead wolves, and they're trying to find Tommy before he like just goes goes too far. And I'm pretty sure there's one part that I'm not going to give away, but I'm pretty sure what they're probably going to do is have it flipped where Tommy's following them. I think Tommy. There is someone else who shows up from the Jackson group that I'm not going to spoil, but I think one of them probably will be Tommy. I think he'll show up because there's a really cool part of the game, because you know that like Tommy's thing is that he is like this like world-class amazing sniper, and there's a sequence you play as Abby where Tommy has the perfect sniping position and you have to escape, and it's like kind of difficult. And he like also Tommy racks up some really good kills in the game, and it's like with important wolves, and it's pretty cool. Anyway, I think that's going to be at the end of our show. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit.